Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name's Drew. I'm an amateur runner in Flagstaff, Arizona. Today I'm going to talk about some lessons that I learned in 2024 and how you can learn from my mistakes to be a better runner in 2025. Some of the things we're going to cover are smarter planning, how to manage injuries while you're training, trusting your gut and listening to your body, and how to stay consistent through whatever's going on in your life. So let's get into what I learned in 2024 and how you can apply that to be a better runner in 2025. My first lesson from 2024 is to set long-term and short-term goals. Most people usually think about their running in terms of one big goal that they have through the year. So maybe that's running a marathon or completing a marathon, setting a certain time goal in the half marathon or a 10K or a 5K. But the best way to reach your long-term goals is to also set shorter-term milestones that you can work toward in the day-to-day. So for someone training for a marathon, that might look like 4 smaller training blocks that will ultimately lead them to one big marathon goal. The first one could be a 5K goal, and that could be just a few months. And then the next quarter, you could look at a 10K goal, and the next one, you could look at a half marathon, ultimately leading into your marathon. So by building up in stages, you can not only hone in your speed, your strength, and a lot of these skills that are learned at shorter distances and applied to a longer distance pretty well, and you can benefit from those things. But you can also just break it out into chunks where the smaller stuff seems more manageable. You can really understand where you're tracking within a short-term training block without getting too wrapped up in where you are in your long-term goal progress. So if you're constantly thinking about your marathon goal and that marathon is 10 months away, you're probably doing yourself a disservice because you shouldn't be focusing on the things that are going to make you successful in the marathon at that stage. So by applying certain short-term goals that you know will build skills that will translate into a better marathon time later on, you can then break that out, track your progress really well. You can have short-term gratification as well, so you don't feel like you're just grinding and you're not really going anywhere. And then ultimately, that marathon training block is going to be a lot easier to get done if you've built your 5K speed, your 10K speed, your half marathon endurance, and then you can apply those things to really specific marathon-specific skills. So by setting one big goal for 2025 and then breaking it into smaller chunks, you can really apply all of those skills that you're going to learn in the short term to the longer term goal, and you can keep yourself motivated as you're going through a lot of the challenges and struggles that usually accompany something that's as demanding as a marathon or any sort of running goal that you might have. So my second lesson is going to be to trust your gut and listen to your body. So as runners, we hear that a lot, listen to your body, but what does that really mean? Oftentimes when we're going through our training, little things happen here and there where we need to read the signals that our body's giving us in order to address a potential problem or to know when we can push a little bit harder. So by making sure you're listening to those signals and making sure that any potential negative signal doesn't turn into a bigger problem, you can really avoid a longer term setback. And what I mean by that is when you can decide that a smaller potential risk is not worth risking a longer term goal by ignoring that sign that your body's sending to you, you can be a little bit more comfortable with taking a break, maybe taking a day off and just letting your body relax, addressing a problem aggressively if it's a tight muscle or if it's some residual soreness. Maybe you move a workout one day. Maybe you go really hard for a week or two into a prehab program that can get that muscle or that little niggle that you have back on track and avoid a longer term injury. So by being comfortable with taking shorter term breaks, you can really stay consistent over the longer term and make sure that you're tracking toward your long-term goals. My third lesson is pretty specific. It's about managing injuries and making sure that you keep your training on track while also addressing a potential injury that you have. I personally learned this through my marathon block leading up to the Berlin Marathon. Happy to wear my jacket today because I set a personal best at the Berlin Marathon of 2:28:46, I believe. A really big personal best for me. I think I could have done better, but I managed to get a really good time for what was based on what was going on in my training. I had an Achilles issue that popped up right at the beginning of training. I almost lost all hope because it was pretty painful and I had to change and adapt a lot of the workouts that I was doing in order to address the problem. But with proper guidance from my physio and chiro PT, I was able to have a really solid plan to address the issue, stay on track, and keep running through this issue as I was addressing it. And it progressed positively. Didn't progress negatively, it didn't get worse, but it just kind of maintained and slowly got better over the course of about 8 weeks. And then prior to the marathon was completely gone. If I had lost hope early in that training block, I would have completely thrown out a lot of the training. And if I didn't get proper guidance from a qualified professional, then I wouldn't have been able to reach my goal. I also was having some issues with my hip flexor and my TFL, which I had some limited range of motion in my hip and in my right leg, and it was causing me some hip pain. This was happening closer to the marathon, and I was really worried. I pretty much, I was going into the marathon thinking that I was just not going to be able to finish, and that was a very real possibility. But with the adrenaline of the marathon, with all the PT and the aggressive rehab that I was doing leading into the race, I was able to basically have no pain during the race. I felt it a little bit, some residual tightness, but it was completely gone. And that was after about 2 weeks of really aggressive treatment. Mostly on my end. I got some dry needling done and I got some massage done. But other than those 2 sessions of treatment, it was all just things that I was doing on my own. So preparation, getting seen by a proper, a professional, qualified professional who can give you an aggressive treatment plan for whatever you're going through. It doesn't need to derail your entire marathon block or whatever race you have coming up. Just staying consistent, making sure you're doing all the right things and you're staying on top of what needs to be done to get better. Having faith in yourself and having faith that injury will eventually go away is a really positive mindset to have, and it can just keep you on track. And then I ended up setting a personal best. I hit my B goal, so my A goal was around 2:27. That didn't happen, but I think with some better planning next time and the same mindset and hopefully a lot of injury prevention prior, I think I will hit that A goal. It just wasn't this year. So there they are, 3 lessons that I learned in 2024 from both mistakes and things that I did well. Listening to your body, managing injuries, and making sure you have a long-term and short-term plan. Those are all things that should be woven into any training plan or block that you're going into. When you push yourself as hard as a lot of us runners do, you really need to have a lot of faith in yourself, and you need to have people around you that will support you, both qualified professionals to address injuries, perhaps a coach who can give that day-to-day guidance and also the long-term guidance that's going to get you where you want to go, and just making sure that you have a positive mindset that is going to lead you to success. So thanks so much for watching. What are your goals for 2025? If you have one, drop it in the comments below. Share the video with a friend. Like it. Thanks for watching. Peace out. I'll see you next time. Happy day.